It looks like all those who will be joining have joined already. So I just want to say, yeah, thank you for everyone who has joined us today. To find out more on our new Bachelor of Indigenous Land Stewardship program. This is the first info session, as there will also be one in April. Appropriately, we want to make a line acknowledgement right now, and as we convene together this afternoon, we remind one another that UBC's Vancouver campus is located on Indigenous lands, the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. We make this acknowledgement to remember our history and to remind ourselves of our responsibility to heal past wrongs inflicted on Indigenous peoples and the lands to which they have deep historic ties. While there are a few others in the background, such as Director of Student Services Kieta Longi, Sonia Adloff, and others from UBC Forestry who are here to support this webinar, the two will be leading, obviously, is myself and also Gary Merkel. My name is Carlo Gustavo Anthony Ormond. My ancestry is from Italy, Spain, and Ireland. I am a citizen of Canada and of Argentina. I grew up and lived predominantly here on the territory of the Musqueam people, but was also quite fortunate to have spent close to a decade on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Haida Nation. Gary, turn it to you. Just introduce yourself. Sorry, Gary, you're on mute.
No, that's okay. I got it. It's telling me unmute. It's always the old guy. Good day. My name's Gary Merkel. I'm Nadi Denaza Uche. I'm Tahltan. My Tahltan name is Nadi Denaza. And I'm the director of the Center for Indigenous Land Stewardship. This program is one of the many things that we're building under this bigger center umbrella. So glad to have you all here.
And just to note my and Gary's involvement with the program, besides being advisors and helping to manage this program, Gary and I are also instructors in the program. Move on here. So the Bachelor of Indigenous Land Stewardship integrates Indigenous peoples' science and land ethics with other resource management approaches. This interdisciplinary program is for Indigenous and non-Indigenous students that provides education taught by Indigenous scholars, elders, knowledge keepers, and allies. Why choose a bachelor's degree in Indigenous land stewardship? Now, it has entrance requirements reflective of honoring and valuing knowledge and experience of Indigenous peoples. It fosters Indigenous-led land healing and action-oriented reconciliation, and utilizes a highly relational, multidisciplinary, multi-knowledge, and land-based system approach to learning. Gary, I'm not sure if you want to just speak a bit more about that and what those words mean.
Yeah, I'd be glad to. This doesn't describe it well, but our program, we're in a situation right now in not just Canada and British Columbia, although we are kind of deep into this, but this is an international trend where we're seeing many more countries creating land stewardship relationships with the Indigenous populations, but there hasn't been a lot of experience building formal systems that work in today's world. We Indigenous communities historically had a way of living with the land, but today we have whole systems that need to work with outside systems. And so what that means is when I say stewardship, land stewardship system, I mean how you make decisions, your governance, how you do your planning, what kinds of practices you might use, how is your community involved, how is your land elders involved, how does that maybe tie with your social wellness framework, how does that shape the kind of economy, resource-based economy that you want? All of that being built from an Indigenous value system and root of the community. And so this is very much an evolving field. There's lots of models from around the world that we continue to gather information from and try to understand. And what this program is about is trying to bring all that into a program and teach students how to go out there and actually work with communities to build this and run these land stewardship and become land stewards and build the systems to do it. That's good enough for now. Yeah.
Yeah, and as noted in my eagerness to present, I forgot to mention too, although thanks for Kiata posting the message there in the chat that Gary and I will present here, and at the end, obviously we'll be making time for questions. And if you have any questions prior to that, please post them on the chat there, and Kiata will prompt us at the end. Thank you, Kiata. As just kind of a sample of some of the topics and courses that we'll be teaching in this program. There's Indigenous views of landscapes, community engagement, holistic resource stewardship, remote sensing, Indigenous law, business management, and developing a land stewardship plan. Um, and if and just to provide some additional, background, these topics and the courses that are in this bachelor's program were in fact I would say identified through a very robust community engagement process that took a number of years with Indigenous governments, nations, communities, and students in British Columbia. And from those gatherings, the information that was gathered was identified and coded, and from that, these courses and many others in our program were developed into this Bachelor's of Indigenous Land Stewardship program. Gary, I'm not sure if there's anything else you'd like to add at this moment with regards to that.
Yes, this picture is one of our field schools. We do a field school every term, or not every term, every year. And the students love it. This is our first cohort of students and a couple of instructors. This one is called Indigenous Views of Landscapes. It's the one that we start with. And what this is about is we spend time out in the forest and on the landscape trying to we learn about the more common land ethic that's most common in most Indigenous communities. It's an earth-based land ethic, meaning that you take your spirituality and your understanding of how you fit in the world through your understanding and developing a relationship with land. Well, not developing, but acknowledging and trying to live within that relationship, as opposed to the more contemporary view, which sees humans as above and apart from land. And so what we do is we learned about different kinds of land ethics, how they shape stewardship systems. We have some Indigenous folks come and talk to us about their different stewardship approaches. We actually bring in some fairly high-end ecologists to also talk about more ecological health approaches to managing land, and we look at the similarities and differences of those. We also try to develop in this program and throughout the program, but this is where we started, where we start to help students. When you do this kind of work, your job is to be a facilitator and to help bridge worlds, and not so much to impose your worldview, but to help a community bring its worldview out and translate that into practical land stewardship systems. And so you need to have a certain personality and a comfort level and a confidence to be able to do that without injecting your own views and bringing your own baggage to the table. So we start to learn about that at a personal and individual level, and we work with students throughout the program to help them become that kind of a, I don't know what you call it, social engineer or something like that, a facilitator, an unbiased and impartial facilitator.
Thanks for the Gary, and also it's probably a great opportunity for me to also mention that with this picture of the field school, the first one that happened this September. Uh, while the program, as many of you may know, reading through the information that we have on our website, uh, this program has both been developed to be multi-access. And what does that mean? Is it means that this program can be attended both in person and online, allowing for an individual, should they want to remain in their home community, to learn in place, in community, um, but also allowing the option for those to come and live here on or around campus and attend in person. That being said, there's a field school at the beginning of the first year, second year, and third year, and those field courses are required to be in person. And that's obviously an opportunity for students to build community amongst themselves, but also to connect with instructors and staff that are involved in the program. Besides that, there's a part of BILS is the co-op program, which is an option that is with all the degrees here at UBC Forestry, which is a 20 months of work experience where you can have local and international opportunities, networking with potential employers, and increased professional marketability for a student once they graduate. Um, the picture that we showed of the gathering field school happened at the Malcolm Knapp Research Forest, which is on the territory of the Keetsi First Nation. This is also a shot of the Loon Lake Lodge and Retreat Center where we hold the field school. As of right now, the field schools are planned to happen here at the Malcolm Knapp Research Forest, but in the future they may be happening also in the Caribou region at Williams Lake at our Alex Fraser Research Forest, and potentially in other places. In addition to this, at UBC, there is Indigenous-specific spaces, such as the First Nations Longhouse, Indigenous Student Colloquium, the Museum of Anthropology, and the Indian Residential School History and Dialogue Center, amongst other places. These are the admission requirements, which some of you may have gone through, right? Where there's English and English studies and English First Peoples, and English language arts or English First Peoples 11. But if you have any questions with regards to that, please don't hesitate to reach out to our student services or to us directly. One of the main pieces of the application, though, is a positionality statement that every student must complete in their application, which is then reviewed by an adjudication committee, who then inform of their decision after they've gone through that statement. Yeah. We're here at the questions and answers. And just to let you know, for those who do remain to the end, we do have a raffle for a UBC Forestry sweatshirt. So if, yeah, whether or not you ask a question, if you hang out, stay around for that raffle. But maybe we can open it up now to questions if there are any at the moment.
There is one on the chat from Leah Monti. How has the first year cohort been running? From what I can tell, looking at Workday, not all of the first year classes are being offered yet. Will there be more classes offered in the fall, or are all of the classes running but not visible to people outside of the program?
Yeah. Yeah, well, we got a great group for the first year cohort. With regards to the number of courses, we have yet to offer all of the courses in the program, which total about close to 30. But what we have done is we have identified courses that obviously we can offer, as well as some other courses that are in the Faculty of Forestry that can substitute in the meantime while we identify faculty and sessional instructors to teach those other courses.
Maybe to add to that, Carlos,
please.
Because this is such a rapidly emerging field, there really isn't any curriculum out there for it. We have a side project that we're working on. I hope to get it started this year, where we're building a repository of information on all of the models, I'll call it, that we can find of Indigenous land stewardship. And we will be mining that to build more curriculum. We're in the process of hiring curriculum writers. So over time, this will just continue to get richer and richer and richer. And I think we all hope that we will build an ongoing network, let's call it, of people who come out of this program, because they're going to be going out and trying these ideas and building their models, and hope to maintain a connection and build it's not like there's a great big pool of people who are doing this out there, and start to build a pool of all of us who are doing this. I think you should also, it's all, we are new, and because of that, we are running into things that we certainly didn't anticipate, and working through very much with the students and with the instructors. And at this point, I would characterize it almost like a collaborative development and building this together. Very closely working with students about what's working, what's not working. And I don't anticipate that being much different as we move through this thing, even after it's been running for a few years, just because of the nature of the way we learn. We try to make it as experiential and as engaging and kind of learning from each other as possible.
Okay, another student was wondering how long will the field school, the field course, take students away from their home community? How many days will they be required to be away?
Approximately five days, depending on travel from your home community.
Yeah, all the people from UBC were 4 days last year, but we're trying to make it a full Monday to Friday type thing. Yeah. And that's just in October every year, or late September, early October. We have to book the research forest ahead, a few years ahead of time. So we're trying to move it earlier and earlier, but it's.
Another question is, how long, by when do they have to submit the application? And I replied in the chat that officially UBC closes the applications for next September entrance, January 15. Having said that, our programs usually stay open for longer than that. And generally speaking, you can always approach us if something were to go wrong, and we will make sure that they open up an application and you're able to actually put in your application, whether the application is open or closed. So we can work with all of you if you encounter any issues.
Thank you, Kiara. Also, with Isla, great to know you've applied. UBC admissions, once they've gone over that, they'll be sending you an email that will provide the link for the positionality statement. So don't worry, it will be coming to you. But thanks for asking that question. Oh, and I see Kiara already answered that. Kiara, any other? Thank you. Is that Leamonte?
There is one that maybe it's a bit more specific to one student's case, but
Okay.
Asia, sorry if I'm mispronouncing, she's currently enrolled in the Indigenous Land Stewardship Certificate program at Native Education College. Can any of my previous course credits be transferred to this program? Could you also let me know the tuition for this program? Thank you. So I can probably speak very briefly about the tuition. UBC charges tuition based on per credit and then adds the different fees for the students' activities. And so depending on how many courses you will register yourself in, your tuition will be slightly different. And as far as courses from the Native Education College, maybe I'll pass the baton to Carlos, who is one of the people that actually approved the courses. So
Yes, and I would Denise, please reach out, and I will put my email here to everyone. So please reach out to me directly about that. Ooh,
but in general terms, we do have a transfer block with Native Education College, and all of the credits that are part of the certificate will be allocated somewhere within the BILS program, whether they will take the spot of a required course or a general elective, but we will try to be as considerate as possible of those courses. So
great, and I think the next question there is from Madri about, are there scholarships available including for Indigenous students? I'll say that right now we are in fact formalizing a type of grant bursary for Indigenous students, which should be up on our website, I'm hoping in the next week or so. So please do continue to check our website with regards to financial aid. And Rana, how many students are in the program so far? Right now, we had a small group. We have 9 first-year students that are in the program and 3 second, third-year transfers. And just speaking about Native Education College and their certificate in Indigenous Land Stewardship, those 3 transfer students are graduates of the Native Education College's certificate in Indigenous Land Stewardship. And this year, we did not allow students to attend the program online. So all the students right now are in person, but we are now preparing ourselves. And in fact, the course that Gary and I teach, also with our colleague Carrie-Ann Vanderhoop, who's from the Haida Nation, we are in fact teaching our course right now, multi-access. So yeah, so students right now are being able to, so we're kind of piloting that our course in the program and preparing itself for the September start of all courses being multi-access. And Isla, with regards to your question, I would say please reach out to us directly on that to look into that. You're welcome to please. I did provide my contact email there. You're welcome to reach out to me, and then I'll follow up with you on that.
I see. Yeah, I see. Leah has asked how many students we would accept we don't have a firm answer for that. It really comes down to space and our ability to, because we're building this right now, we can't take 40, but we could take 20 probably. We haven't made a firm decision, but I would say in the 20 range, but Carlos may have a different idea. Like I said, we haven't made a firm decision, because that would mean we'd have 80 total at any given time. That's a lot of students when we're trying to deliver personalized. We also are working this year on building learning hubs, which may allow us to expand our capacity and ultimately be delivering a 1 and 2 year options as well. But all of this is very active building at this moment.
Yeah, no, thanks, Gary. You know, on the same page there, and but also just to add that with regards to like we are, because of the classroom space, I think we would have to, I would say, max out probably around 30 students. I mean, if should we be in that situation, be 30 students in person. But yeah. I don't see any other questions. We might have answered all of them at this time, or people, you're also welcome to send an email to me directly, where Gary and I will be responding to that, as well as there's Kiata's contact information if you have specific questions with regards to admissions. And yes, I think it might be time for the raffle.
Yes.
So, Sonia, please.
Thanks, Carlos. Okay, so I've entered everyone's name. Someone will be randomly drawn for our sweatshirt, our limited edition. I think, Carlos, if you advance to the next slide, you'll
There we
see an
go.
image. Yeah, there's our limited edition UBC Faculty of Forestry sweatshirt. So I'm just going to spin this little virtual wheel here.
And while you do that, I'll just note that whomever is the winner, please stay on after the call, so that or after the Zoom, after we finish this, just so that we can get your contact information, so that we can get that to you. But
Yes,
And
thank
probably
you.
and probably size.
Yes, exactly. So I have a name here, and it is Denise C. That is the name that you've used on your Zoom screen. So Denise C, I believe you are still online. Congratulations. I will send you a private message in the chat to get your email address, and then yeah, we can communicate further from there.
thank you, Sonia, and
Thank you.
thanks. Oh, Gary.
Yeah, just before we go, I actually want to talk just for a second. We are building this center, and this is part of that. Our vision for this center is that we see this in huge demand around the planet right now. Folks are looking for alternate stewardship approaches, and so we're getting a lot of interest from different jurisdictions, and ultimately our dream is that if we can get out there and start building some practical land stewardship approaches, that we're going to see this starting to be adopted internationally as we build our network. And frankly, it'd be pretty amazing. And our biggest dream is that this will become a standard around the world of seeing systems that integrate this kind of thinking into it. It's a very exciting time for those people who are really interested in advancing land stewardship on this planet. Very interesting time.
Hi, I was actually typing a answer to Asia, who actually asked if she could transfer from UBCO. So we do allow for transfers into forestry to any of our programs from any from UBCO or any of the lower mainland community colleges or other university BC-wide and Canada-wide. Having said that, the program is extremely unique and every year has very prescribed courses for students to take. So depending on how many credits you successfully complete at the other institution or at our other campus, it would be very likely that those credits will fit in to the general elective pool, and you will still have to make up for the required courses. Some of the required courses are more readily available in other institutions, but the majority of the courses you would only be able to pick up here at UBC with us. So if you feel that you would rather go to a community college or UBCO for your first year in a smaller setting in a smaller community, that's perfectly fine. But perhaps if that's your plan, it would be good for you to contact us early on so that we can make sure that whatever you're taking will count as much as possible towards the program that you will then pick up here at UBC, which is the land, Indigenous land stewardship. And again, you can contact any of us in student services. You can contact me directly. You can send an email to Carlos. Being part of a small team makes it very easy for us to always talk and kind of brainstorm or consult on students that approach us with questions.
Thank you, Kiara. And thank you all for attending.
Mhm.
Wishing you the best rest of the day. And again, don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate your time. Keep in touch.